Speaking of history of the sport, here's a man who has pretty much written the history books in the sport. Mike Stewart joining me here in the booth for the next heat of round three. How you doing, Mike?
Could be better. Could be better. I had a kind of another shocker heat, so kind of struggling out there.
We saw you had a little issue in that heat, a little run-in with one of the Brazilian competitors. What went on with that?
I think that guy thought he had priority, and unfortunately for me, it was like one of the better waves that came in for me, and I couldn't do really much on it, so it kind of really killed my scoring potential on that wave. But you know, it's contest. He thought he had priority, and no hard feelings.
Well, I was discussing with Jared Houston about the priority and the way you can use it to your advantage out in the water. Priority system can also work against you out there. And there in that heat, we saw it work against one of the competitors out there in the water with you. Do you enjoy using the priority system out there in the water when you're competing?
Yeah, here's real quick, blue up and riding. Oh no, is this from the last heat or?
This is the second heat
wave.
of round
Okay,
three. That's
first wave.
Lucas Faria from Brazil, one of the trialists. And here we have in yellow Magno Passos, also from Brazil. They're out there in the water with Pierre-Louis Costas. So there you can see the Brazilians getting off to a quick start. Meanwhile, there you can see Pierre in the red jersey waiting for a wave to his liking to roll through. So you were saying about the priority system.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for the most part, 95% of the time, I'd say it works to your advantage or to the competitor's advantage. But there is those odd occasions that fluke things happen. You know, there's miscommunication or someone thinks something different than what reality is, and you have conflicts. So, but you know, for the most part, it's been working pretty good, and I think everyone's pretty stoked with it. It really puts the emphasis on wave riding rather than hassling, which I think is a better overall scenario.
There seems a lot to be taken into consideration and work with when you're out in the water at a beach break like this. You've got rips, you've got backwash, you've got a tendency for the waves to close out more. Have you ridden here before? Is this one of the more difficult beach breaks you've ridden?
Yeah, actually, I do find this wave pretty difficult. The timing of it comes in like you would think a normal beach break that would come in here, and then it just gets super thick and it can break pretty quick. So it kind of gets away from me. The timing is pretty tricky as well. Here's Pierre looking at this wave.
Pierre up and riding, comes off the bottom, hits a nice flip, gets it around, resets his rail, looking for the next section, pumping for speed, gets a roll, and follows it up with another roll off of that whitewater section. So nice solid combination maneuvers for PLC to get him on the board. We'll see how that scores with the judges.
Yeah, it's a good opener anyway. I think it kind of gets him warmed up if nothing else, but that was a pretty good combo. I haven't seen three moves on a wave out here, very often because it is kind of a quick shore break. So usually you see one or two moves. Once in a while you see more than that, but it's like Magno's kind of moving over here.
So how were the currents out there today? I know on the bigger days, currents were really difficult to deal with, especially on that inside. After this wave.
Yeah, Magno dropping in. It's all about timing. That was pretty good timing.
Nice clean roll on that section from Magno. Timed that one pretty much perfectly.
Yeah, you could see, him kind of really drawing out that turn to meet with the lip, and it looked like it worked out pretty well. Pretty good one maneuver.
Well, one of the things I've noticed from watching Magno ride at various competitions, he has a very clean style. He draws very clean lines.
Yeah, he works at it. I think he puts that as an important element to his wave riding, and he concentrates on that aspect of it. And I think, what you're seeing is the results of that effort. It doesn't just happen naturally. You got to kind of think about it and make it happen.
So back to my question, the currents today.
Yeah,
bit easier.
A lot easier today. You can paddle up basically from anywhere on the beach and not get too smoked. It seems like it's dropping actually pretty quickly. And there's still some waves in the water, but it is dropping, and so it'll be a lot easier. And even when it's smaller like this, there's not quite the same amount of all the water moving around and moving out, because one of those little outflowing currents can just ruin your whole little zone. You could be in a 100-yard zone and the whole zone could just get destroyed by the current.
Well, there you can see on screen the current situation out in the water. Magnopassos in the lead with a 4.88 and a 2.75. Pierre-Louis Costas in second with a 6.58 on his first wave. Still doesn't have a secondary score under his belt. So it's in the early going. I'm sure we'll see things shuffle around a bit. But Magno and Pierre out to the early lead. Lucas Faria with a .83. He's going to look for 2 better scores to throw up there for his top 2 scores. You were talking about the swell dropping. I actually have in front of me the swell forecast. I was showing this to Jared Houston last heat, and me and Manny were passing this back and forth. It looks like we're going to have another increase in swell for tomorrow afternoon and Thursday morning.
Great.
So some more good conditions coming in here at Itacoatiara. Now, today, everybody has moved a little further down the beach. The first couple of days, we saw people mostly at Cushtown and Mayo, the middle. And now they've moved down towards Pampo to the right side of the beach. Up and riding in blue. It's Lucas Faria,
Quick roll
the
in and
trialist.
out. Yeah, not much offering on that wave.
So, did you prefer being down this way?
Yeah, I've only surfed the middle and the right. I hadn't surfed the left until yesterday. And yeah, I think that right down the beach seems like the best peak and the best waves. Kind of like a cross bowl, and there's kind of some sections on it. So to me, that's like the best wave. That seems like where most guys congregate when the waves are like this. Like, that's where you'll see most of the guys surfing, boosting, getting barreled, and that's kind of to me the best spot. But I guess it does get really good here in the middle. Haven't seen it yet, but I'd say today it's probably going to be, as the swell drops, maybe in the middle and down towards the right there.
I do have to say, Manny and I have been watching the little wedges coming in down there at the right. We've been itching to get out of the booth and jump out in the water. We're going to have to wait until work is done here and the comp wraps up. But such is the life of an IBA commentator. You sit in the booth, you watch the waves, but you're not riding them. Fortunately, you've gotten out in the water for some free surfs for the event, and you've been out in the water for the event. What do you have lined up after this event? Where are you headed next?
I'll go to California, take care of some business, and then head home to Hawaii to my wife and kids.
Cool.
So.
And then up next on the IBA World Tour is Mexico.
Like something went on there. It looks like somebody might have grab priority or use priority to, so I think I saw yellow.
Hopefully we get a quick little replay of that last exchange. Yeah,
it looked like maybe blue went and yellow had priority, and then yellow just like used that priority so he didn't get a good score. As the waves drop here, you're going to see a lot of that where guys are going to use the priority system to their advantage by blocking riders, and if it really gives them an opportunity to control it if they have been waiting the longest. But now the situation is turned. Now blue's got priority and he can do the same thing to yellow. So
that's something you would see more. You'd see blocking more in smaller wave conditions.
Yeah, I think so. There's less time riding waves, more time sitting there, jockeying, positioning yourself so that you're in a good spot. So yeah, when it's smaller, you'll definitely see a lot more hassles.
And here we have PLC up and riding on
stalling.
his third wave, pulls
Nice
into the
ball.
barrel, comes out, nice little wave there, throws into a carving reverse, setting up for this inside section. As it jacks up again, he uses the backwash, hits a roll, and looks like he lost the handle in the whitewater.
Yeah, that actually projected him pretty well, but that was a good little barrel at the beginning. It had a nice little corner on it, good little power, and just pushed him right through that thing. So that's going to be another good score for PLC, and I'm sure that'll move him to the first, as he's only like chasing like a 1 or something with one wave. So this will be a second wave. I'd probably say this is going to be the second highest scoring wave of the heat.
And actually, he had a wave before that, but you are correct. PLC in the lead with a 6.58 and a 5.75. He got a 5.38 on that last wave. So he's in the driver's seat in this heat right now. Magno Passos in second, trying to hold off Lucas Faria for that second and advancing spot. So there you can see in yellow, Magno scanning the horizon, looking for the next wave to come in. Real quick, I'd like to throw back to the Eureka competition. I was watching online that event, and how did you pull off that 9.43? That spin in the barrel came out and hit a huge invert, high score of the event. Did that wave just come together for you?
Well, PLC going again, up, in and out, quick one. Yeah, I mean, I was up against Ben. I know Ben's a formidable competitor. He's really, really good, and as all the top guys are, super. It's every heat can potentially be a final, and I just know I had to really, turn it up, and that was one moment during the event. I felt like, I kind of did what I wanted to do, and kind of my potential was, I felt like okay, that's how I need to be doing it, because I got pretty high standards at the end of the day.
Well, that's one of the reasons why, obviously, you were 9-time world champion. Your level of performance, the level you push yourself to out in the water, is pretty much second to none in the history of bodyboarding. You said you.
Here we go, little. Watch out! Oh, okay, that
returned the
might be a
favor.
situation there. Nice air by Magno. I'm not sure if he had priority or not, but if he didn't, it would be. I'm not sure. I'm going to let the judges make that call if the other guy's too deep. PLC up on it looks like a pretty decent wave. And it's pretty tricky getting this line. Like, you can see him kind of just going straight, but you see him bumping around. It's hard a lot. Sometimes there's a lot of the waves have a little bump or rip through it, and it makes these little chops. And it just cuts your line. So it's hard to get a good line up to whatever section you're going to hit. Not only does it make the section itself a little bit blurry, but it makes the line to it difficult. So it's tricky. It is tricky out there.
Now going back to Eureka, you celebrated your birthday while you were in Chile.
Yeah, the day I arrived was pretty cool. Yeah, I flew in and actually spent the night in the airport at Peru. I got in late, and then the next flight was like at 3 or something. So I just crashed right there in the.
Well, I hope you don't mind me discussing your age. You turned what?
49.
49?
Yeah, 49.
49 years old, and you're still competing at a very high level. You're still in incredible shape, physical condition to be able to handle conditions like you see here and on other venues of the World Tour.
Blue up and riding. I was going to look for it. Oh, that was clean. That was a nice flip there.
Nice flip from Lucas Faria on that one, and rides out clean. What do you do training-wise to maintain your physicality for the sport?
Yeah, it doesn't just come natural. Okay, so Magno moves to. Yeah, that was. Wow, cool. So Magno got an 8 for that big boost, and I guess there's no interference with Lucas. We'll see what that last wave of Lucas comes in at. Yeah, I mean, I work at it. It's not something that just happens. You got to be committed to it and pretty dedicated. The older you get, the more you seem to have to work at it. And so I try to eat good. I'm fortunate enough, my wife's a nutritionist, so she's always, making the good food at home, and just pretty amazing. So that's a key part of it, is your diet and making sure your lifestyle is pretty good. And then I also have a pretty intense workout program that I do that's pretty specific. And between that and surfing and my business, it's pretty full on.
Yeah, I would imagine that's a pretty full plate for you to be, tend to your family, tend to competing, and tend to your own business.
Yeah, I mean, bodyboarding is a relatively young sport and doesn't you really have the same support as some of the other wave riding sports like surfing. And so really to perpetuate your whole lifestyle, you got to create it. And that's kind of what I had to do, is just create my own sponsors, which is pretty cool in a lot of ways. I mean, I've done a couple things that I didn't think I was going to be able to do, like win a contest with all my own gear. That was like a pretty big accomplishment for me personally. And just to be able to be sponsored by yourself, you don't have to worry about sponsors. There's not too many guys probably would want to sponsor a 49-year-old. And if they do, please email me.
I'm right there with you, Mike. With the U.S. tour, it's like 37 and it's sponsorless, just about. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it's cool on the other side. I mean, you got the athletes in bodyboarding. To me, are some of the greatest people on earth. I mean, everyone is so cool. They're so humble. They're complete masters in the ocean, and the athletes are just world-class people. Not just world-class athletes, which they are. I'd put them compared to any athlete in any sport, but just as far as their character and spirit, they're just awesome people. So I'm just super amped on our tribe.
See, now this is something I love being able to ask people here in the booth. Who are some of your favorite people to travel with over the years? Some of your favorite people to share waves with?
I prefer to just be on my own. But I do like to travel with people, and gosh, let me think. I like to travel with the guys that I'm riding with. I like to try to help them, and there's been a bunch of guys like from like Mitch Rollins, Mark McCarthy, Magno, and now Tom Rigby, and I've even Dudu Pedro rode for me for a little bit. Here in Brazil, it's just cool to. I like to be able to share a lot of the stuff that I've learned with them, and try to help them along and prod them along, and the whole experience has been pretty awesome, really.
All right, and here we have PLC up and riding on this one.
Oh, looks like he's got a high line here, fanging for some speed. Good line. See if he can do that. Just gets a little bit unstuck. It's a pretty tricky, as I said, it's pretty tricky. Like you get up to the lip, you can't really tell how fast it's going to throw. And I guess basically there's shallow patches out there. And when the wave hits that shallow patch, it just gets super hollow and thick quick. Yeah, that's not what Pierre wanted, with Magno getting an 8. I don't know if that's going to change his. I don't think that'll change his position.
So
Magno up and riding.
Magno up and riding, drops in, comes off the bottom, punches through the lip, goes for an air roll spin, and he's going to get caught in the turbulence and lose his board on that.
Yeah, it's hard to get that balance of getting projected out enough to make the rotation.
And
Blue, nice spin.
Nice pocket spin from Lucas Faria.
He's looking for another section. Gets it. Pretty good wave there from Lucas.
So quick wave exchange from our competitors out there. A nice wave for Magno. Not quite what Pierre was looking for on his wave. And Lucas with a nice little combination wave. So just waiting for scores to drop. You were talking about guys who you like sharing waves with. And also touched upon some guys that have ridden for you. Your current team, you've got some really talented young Hawaiian kids coming up. Tell us a little bit about the kids like Sammy Morantino, and Tanner McDaniel.
There's a bunch of really good riders in Hawaii. Besides the guys on the tour now, but yeah, some of the team guys like Tanner McDaniel is a young phenom from Kauai, and another kid named Sammy Morantino. He's amazing. He basically won every heat he competed in USBA at Huntington.
Yes, for the people who didn't tune into the U.S. Open of bodyboarding, Sammy Morantino won the 14 to 18 amateur, the Open amateur, and even took out Dave Hubbard and Bud Miyamoto in the Drop Knee Pro.
Yeah, that was a pretty impressive result from him. And I think if he entered the Pro, he probably would have done pretty well as well. So man, he's amazing. He had that much. I guess at that age, you got a lot of fuel in the tank, and he just did really good. So that was a pretty impressive display of what he's capable of doing. He's an amazing rider. PLC up.
PLC dropping in, drops down to the bottom, drives up, hits a nice little invert off of that oncoming section. And here you can see he rides out of the whitewater, completes the maneuver, and then bows out.
Yeah, smaller wave, not quite as much projection, but still good little hit. Let's see here. That'll be interesting to see what he gets on this.
So there you can see Pierre pedaling back out, and Magnu out the back in the yellow jersey waiting for his next wave. Magnu sitting in the lead with a combined 12.88. And there you can see he sees something coming in. He's pedaling over. And it looks like he's going to kick into this one.
Yeah.
And then opts to let it go by.
So, yeah, some of the other guys, too, like Keahi Parker, are a little bit older and are really good. Like, I would say that they're right on the cusp of breaking through. Definitely world class, especially in good surf. It's like Magno's paddling for this one. He's pretty committed. What's he going to do? Okay, he's looking. Okay, he's in the barrel. Oh, looks like it closed down on him in the end there.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to make it there for a minute, had daylight, and then it just pinched on him. It shut down, but nice effort there from Magno. Yes, you were talking about some of your other Hawaiian guys, like Keahi, Trevor Cam.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically what I wanted to do the last couple of years is create a Hawaii tour so that, oh, here we go, replay. Magno, you can see him stalling there a little bit, and then bottom turns to drive right here. He's got lots of speed. This next section just kind of gobbles him, unfortunately. But, yeah, as I was saying, just, wanted to create a Hawaii tour so that all the Hawaii riders kind of have a forum to really do what they do. And that's the first stage of it. And, hopefully it grows into something more, hopefully a professional tour. And, so all the riders will be strong. I really believe that the strength of riders in the region. Oh, Blue up and riding.
All right, so this is Blue, Lucas Faria from Brazil, one of the trialists, going for the roll and kind of lands off the back on that one. There you can see him slapping the water, a little frustrated. He's still got 7.5 minutes remaining, so he's still got time. He just needs to maintain composure, get back out there, and find one that's going to work with him a little better.
Yeah, 7 minutes, as I've said, you can win a contest in 5. And spend, guys like Jeff have shown that you can do that as well. So, yeah, anything can happen still. It's just out here, it is a pretty difficult wave to predict.
Okay, so when you entered the booth, I was talking about how you've pretty much written the history books for bodyboarding. I mean, not to linger on your accomplishments, but 9-time world champ, 8-time U.S. national champ. And how many body surfing world titles do you have?
Yeah, well, there's not really a world championship, but I won the pipeline quite a few times.
The last time I checked, I think it was like 14 times. You have to excuse me. Stats for bodyboarding is what I focus on. So I'm constantly reading through this stuff and writing it down. But is there anything in your bodyboarding career that you haven't accomplished that you're still gunning for?
Well, I'd like to get another title. I mean, it's still possible. I had a decent run. Oh, here we go. Mags. Oh, Magno.
Bailing mid-roll.
Not that he needed it, but it would have been good. So it looked like he just that's kind of plays into what I was saying. You go up to hit it sometimes, and if it gets fat or hits a deep spot, it's just going to flatten out, and it will not project you. So it's pretty difficult. So you really got to be, you got to be on your game out here, big time. Yeah, I think I'd be super amped to get another title. But at this point, there's so much going on in my life that it's not super easy, and not that it has been for the last few years, but everything's going cool. I feel like I'm healthy, which is the main important thing for me, and my kids are healthy, my wife's healthy, we're doing fine, so everything is really cool.
Well, you know what, Mike? I have to say, I would love to see you win a 10th world title. Um,
Oh, Mag's up.
There he goes, dropping down, looking for the section.
Boost
Drives
through the
up,
lip.
punches through the lip.
Holds on, gets through.
There it is. Now, how hard is it to power through a thick lip when you're driving down the line looking for a section and you're trying to make the best of what's offered to you?
Yeah, it can be pretty tricky. The thicker it is, the faster it is. The more horizontal you go down the line, the harder it is to get up and through it. In a thick wave, especially like out here, it's pretty tricky. It's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty angry slabs out there through the past few days.
Oh, Pierre stalling, looking for something here. Nice flip. Let's see. Looked like he might have got around on that one. Let's see if he can get out. Oh, pan to the right. Pan. Oh, no.
And he fell behind it, so that'll be an incomplete maneuver. But a nice attempt from Pierre. He's made that his signature maneuver pretty much. Once upon a time in bodyboarding, there was no such thing as a flip. There was no such thing as an air roll spin. You were one of the guys who innovated the air roll spin.
Well, actually, Eppo was the guy that kind of. I was working on different things, and I've done different things prior to that, but he really brought it into focus where he concentrated on that and did roll spins. And then the guys, and then he also did backflips. And so guys like John O'Bruce in Australia were really focusing on that move, and a lot of guys have modeled their backflip style and surfing after him. And so I think what you see is, Pierre realizes that backflips are an amazing tool to have in your arsenal in a competition. And so he's focused on that, and he's actually concentrated time and really focused on, here we go, here's a little paddle situation. And I want to say, I think Magno had priority, but maybe he was trying to get, maybe Pierre was trying to get Magno to go.
For those of you viewing online, just to touch on a little bit of bodyboarding history. Mike making reference to Eppo, Mike Eppelston from Australia. He was the 1993 world champion. Definitely the one of the innovators in the sport, coming up with the air roll spin, working on the backflip. Also been coaching Jake Stone with some of the new school moves that we've been seeing in video over the past year or two. The history of the sport, stuff that every bodyboarder should look into. Obviously, I've said it a couple of times. Mike here, one of the innovators of the sport. Half the history book belongs to this man next to me right here. And
you can be my agent, Steve.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm gushing a little bit, but Mike, you've been a huge influence for so many fans of bodyboarding, so many bodyboarders. I mean, I myself, growing up on the East Coast, a couple of the guys I really looked up to were you, Jay Reel, Ben Severson. The skill sets you guys brought to bodyboarding, the legitimacy you brought to bodyboarding.
Oh, big boost!
Unbelievable! Wow. Hitting the eject button on that one.
Yeah, it looked like he boosted a lot further than he wanted to and got a little bit away from him. Okay, Pierre's in the hunt now. I guess he's...
How do you handle having, being so recognizable within the sport? Whenever you go to an event, I mean, is it ever awkward or uncomfortable for you?
No, I mean, for me, it's like just when I travel, it's like I have a group of friends near the beach that I feel that we have a common bond and we're kind of connected in a way. And so it's actually the perfect scenario. I think I've only been phobic a couple times where I got a little overwhelming when I was younger and traveling to some places. But nowadays it's pretty cool. Like everyone's, I think, a little bit more connected and educated, and it's just a super cool thing to have, that people recognize you. Just feel like wherever you travel, you have a set of friends. So it's an amazing thing that I wouldn't trade for anything.
That's pretty cool. Now, I have another question. I don't know if people ask you about this very often, but what is it like getting hired to film for Hollywood movies? I know there's been a couple of movies where you've done the water footage. Yeah. What is that like working for a big budget Hollywood?
It's a lot of fun. Okay, here Magno looking for just to, I guess, better his score. At this point, I think he's just surfing. You know, he's well, actually, take it back. He's, you know, with there you go. That's it. So he probably just went on that just to seal the deal. So that was a pretty good heat. Magno with an 8 and a 6, and Pierre with a 6.5 was starting to claw back in a 5.7, but just didn't get that next wave, you know, that he was looking for, I'm sure. So a good heat surf by Mags.
So Magno Passos and Pierre